talks about how the 60 plus economy is vibrant and over $22 trillion worldwide, and that every business and every entrepreneur should be thinking about how we can support healthy aging and longer lifespans with a variety of products and services going forward. The longevity economy includes all the jobs that are being created, services and products to support much longer lifespan, and all the contributions of long-lived lives. This is a new concept, and it's considered to be over $22 trillion worldwide right now, and over $8.6 trillion here in the United States. And traditionally, people always looked at aging as a frailty, as a declining stage of life. But in fact, older adults are living much greater lives with health span, which enables them to be productive and contribute to society. And that's how this longevity economy concept came about. The book is a culmination of many years of research and work that I had done as a Distinguished Careers Institute Fellow. Stanford in 2015 started a new program for people who were what they considered mid-career. And mid-career is anybody from their 50s all the way into their 80s, to come back to the university and rethink what they want to do with the next stages of their life. No longer is the concept of learn, earn, and then retire make sense when people are living 100-year lives. And I had the good fortune to be in the second class of the Distinguished Careers Institute in 2016. And there I learned about the concept of longevity, that people are living much longer lives and that our children can expect to live well into their hundreds. And as a former venture capitalist and somebody who had a career in public health, I began to see these opportunities like, why isn't more of business supporting this? Why aren't they creating products and services to help people live longer lives with greater health, greater purpose, engagement? The concept of longevity is new. And we just don't have the products and services to support healthy aging that are going to be needed. So the book teaches basically the concept of how every company needs a longevity strategy, not just for their products and services, but for their workforce, because people are going to have 60-year career spans. And during that period, they're going to need upskilling. They may need multiple career breaks for caregiving, both for their own children or to take care of older parents. And so there's many ways a company should be thinking about having a longevity strategy. And this book targets all companies that exist, how they can think about a longevity strategy, and entrepreneurs and innovators about where the opportunities lie for creating new companies to support longevity. Traditionally, a lot of companies target the demographic of 18 to 34-year-olds. Not knowing that the greatest amount of wealth is controlled right now by people 50 and older. Consumer spending, the majority is by 50 and older, and over 83% of wealth in the United States is controlled by the older customer. So companies should be thinking about having a product and service that they may have targeted just for younger, but perhaps modifying it so that it could be a multi-generational product. And companies that have done that successfully is like Warby Parker. We all think of them as the hipster brand for eyeglasses for a younger market. But it turns out over 50% of sales now from Warby Parker is for older adults who need progressives, but they still want the same kind of hipster frames for it. So the concept that you can expand your customer base is something new that a lot of companies haven't thought about. Most people have stereotyped all older adults by age and saying the 60 plus or 65, whatever demarcation you want to use, everybody's the same, without recognizing there's great diversity between 60 and 100. You can have an 80-year-old running marathons like Dr. Anthony Fauci and being as vibrant as a 40-year-old. But traditionally, people have marketed to the frail, elderly, and just thinking everybody's in a declining mode. And so I looked at companies that have done well by doing stage and recognizing what stage of life is somebody in and what types of products and services they're going to need. They may need some modifications, but they still want to be vibrant and not stereotyped in terms of what they need. And many companies haven't looked at their multi-generational product to support that. And in turn, new companies need to be thinking about how they would market to an older adult based on stage and not what age they are. It's not reasonable to think that all younger people can understand the wants and needs of an older adult. So bring in an older adult into your team and have a multi-generational workforce. It will add value to you, and your team will be more productive as a result. But when you design those features that may need some accommodations as somebody ages, you don't want to call it out. So the stereotype is big, beige, and boring are the traditional products for older adults. You want it to look just like it might, but it might have what we call stealth features. And a good example of that is BMW. They've redesigned their entire dashboard, recognizing that most of the people who buy their cars are 55 plus. And so they may need bigger dials. They may need some contrast in terms of colors, because that happens as you age. But the exterior of the car looks the same. The overall feel of the car looks the same. But they've just created some modifications that will help an older adult enjoy that car more. And that's an example of a stealth feature, but they designed with a multi-generational team to understand what the needs of an older adult might be. Nike, interestingly, had traditionally targeted the 18-34-year-old demographic, but they realized that their athletes, as they were aging, were continuous athletes or athletes forever. They may be running slower, but they're still running. And they designed initially a new shoe, an athletic shoe, that would support the features of an older adult in terms of cushioning and padding and ease of access of entry. They called it the Cruiser One. And it was a pilot project to get a sense of what would be needed for older adults who are continuous athletes. And now they've revamped their strategy to a new one, which is just saying athletes forever, but they've demarcated between what are the needs of men, women, children, and looking across all spectrums of integrating athletics for all ages, not just for the 18 to 34-year-old. I learned about that from one of my professors from School of Public Health, who was my dissertation advisor, and he lived on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. And I visited him one time, and he said, "I live in a Newark." And I said, "What do you mean? You live in an apartment building?" He said, "Yes, but there are many apartment buildings here in this neighborhood, and and it's easy to access because we have elevators, and easy to get food, and easy to get transportation, and easy to cross the street, because in Newark's, these naturally occurring retired communities, they have slowed down the change of lights so that older adults can cross the street more easily, and they're close to a hospital and close to medical care. So it's not that people have to move out of their neighborhoods. They can stay in their neighborhood, but access all the services that they need, and they become a community of services to support them. And it's really exciting to see that cities are trying to support older adults aging in place in the environments that they want to be in, and then within their communities. And this is happening throughout the country. That has everything to do with stage. So often, and particularly in healthcare, and very much so in caregiving, you will find that it's a daughter or a daughter-in-law. Traditionally, 3/4 of caregivers have been female. And they often are the decision makers or influences around products and services to support the care recipient. And we see that in healthcare as well. So marketing to a daughter concept is different than marketing to the older adult who's the care recipient. And finding that daughter and how to market to them is important for any company that is thinking about products and services that can support older adults. And we see that now increasingly, that there are different types of longevity customers. In fact, there are 8 different types, the daughter being one, but the daughter may be an influencer. Yeah, I love that idea. The AARP is doing actually amazing things around innovation. They have an age tech collaborative. They have many hubs where you can create new products and services. They are very innovative, and most people traditionally, including me, when I used to get mail, I would just throw it out and saying, I don't need insurance, not knowing that their website has all these resources for caregivers, healthy aging. And I love the concept of renaming them for Renaissance people, because that's one of the stages I articulate in my book. I think people who are at this later stage of life are actually, repurposing, transitioning, rethinking their life priorities, and it truly is a renaissance stage. Most people really don't want to retire. They may want to take a break, and they may not want to do the same type of work or career that they had, but they may want to repurpose and rejuvenate and start in an area that has more meaning for them, or that gives them more flexibility. But the concept that everybody over 65 is called a retiree or is of retirement age just puts them all into one bucket again. And I think it's important to sort of abandon those kind of words, same for senior and elderly, because again, it often has the connotation of the end, whereas you can have another 30 to 40 years of vibrancy to go. And why put people in that kind of bucket? And people have tried out many different terms, which I put in the book, anywhere from bloomers to, different colors, the silvers, the golden. And I came up in talking with a friend with a new concept, which is we're in furtherhood. We're not in elderhood, we're in furtherhood. We keep going further and we have more to look forward to. So this can be the happiest time of life and actually one of the most productive times of life, rather than just thinking of people as sort of in an ending stage that goes on for a very long period.